Yes, good afternoon to all. In the last class we are discussing with the placentation and estivation, and there are 5 types of placentation: marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation and basal placentation. And there are different types of estivations are there, and comes to that valvate estivation, twisted estivation, imbricate estivation and vexillary estivation, and 4 types of estivations are explained. And based on the position of ovary, flowers are of 3 types: hypogynous, epigynous and perigynous flower. And in the hypogynous flower, ovary occupies the highest position and other parts are below the ovary. And in the epigynous flower, all parts are above the gynoecium. Gynoecium occupies the lowest or inferior position. And a condition is there called as perigynous condition between epigynous and hypogynous, where the ovary is said to be half inferior and the thalamus forms a cup-shaped structure, and the ovary originates from the base of the cup-shaped thalamus and other parts originate from the margin or rim of the cup-shaped thalamus. Ovary is said to be half inferior. Ovary is free with the thalamus, and in the epigynous, ovary is fused with the thalamus. Then comes the placentation is over. Then comes the stamens may be joined or free. Stamens may be joined or free. You know, the male part is called as andrecium and female part is called as gynoecium. This is the male part of the flower called as andrecium. And if the andrecium stamens, in many cases, in many plants, stamens are attached above the petals. See, stamens are attached above the petals. Petals and stamens are joined. See, stamens are, this is the petal and this is the stamen, and stamens are attached above the petals in many flowers. Such a condition is called as epipetalous condition. Epipetals. Epi means above. If the stamens are attached above the petals, that condition is called epipetalous condition. And similarly, if the petals are, if the stamens are attached above the perianth lobes, it is called as epiphyllous condition. See, epiphyllous condition. Epiphyllous means if the petals or stamens are attached above the perianth lobes or tepals, that condition is called epiphyllous. You know what do you mean by perianth lobes or tepals? A new term for you. See, in the many plants, sepals and petals are not differentiated. You saw in the case of hibiscus flower, the sepals are green color. You know the color of the sepals are green color, and petals are red in color. See, this is the sepal, this is the petal. Sepal, petal. Sepal is green in color and petal is red in color in plants like hibiscus. But in plants like coconut, or you see the flower of coconut, flowers are like this. The flower of coconut appears like this. Coconut flower appears like this. Coconut flower, and you know this yellow colored structure. There is no difference between sepal and petal. You can see a hard yellow colored structure. This structure is called tepal or perianth. See, this is called as, this structure is called perianth or tepal. See, if the sepal and petal is not differentiated, it is called, this structure in coconut is called as tepal or perianth. Here, sepal petal is different. Sepal is green in color, petal is red in color. So we can call it as sepal and petal. In plants like coconut, you listen here, the plants like coconut, you know, flower of the coconut, hard yellow colored structure, very small flower, there is no difference between sepal and petal. Same color, 6 lobes are there. These kind of 6 structures are there. If the petal and sepal is not differentiated, it is called tepal or perianth. And if the stamens are attached above the perianth lobe, it is called as epiphyllous. If the stamens are attached above the petals, it is called epipetalous. If the stamens are attached above the tepals, it is called as in coconut, it is called as epiphyllous. There is a difference between the two. So perianth and tepal is different. And see, the stamens may be joined or free. The stamens are, numerous stamens are present in a flower. Stamens are, when comes numerous in number, they may be free. Stamens are free. See, stamens are free from one another. Stamens are not attached. If the stamens are free, this condition is called as polyandrous condition. Polyandrous condition. Stamens are free from one another. It is called, free means not joined, called the polyandrous condition. If the stamens are joined into one group like this, stamens are joined into one group, it is called as monoadelphous condition. Monoadelphous condition. Mono means single. Stamens are joined into one group, it is called as monoadelphous condition. And if the stamens are joined into two groups, see, one group 3, another group 3, two group, see 1, 2, 3 here 1, 2, 3, 3 plus 3 or 5 plus 5 joined into two groups, it is called as a diadelphous condition. Diadelphous condition. Stamens are joined into two groups. Di means two. Diadelphous condition. And in many cases, as in cucurbita, more than 10 or 15 stamens are there. So you can see like that. One group, second group, third group, like this. See, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, like that. If stamens are joined in numerous groups, it is called as polyandrous condition. It is called as polydelphous condition. See, if they are free, not joined, called polyandrous. Joined into one group, not 3, sometimes 10 or 15 or 5 like that. One group monoadelphous condition, one group, two group diadelphous condition, numerous group polyadelphous condition. Stamens may be joined or free, polyandrous, monoadelphous, diadelphous, polyadelphous. Then comes gynoecium. You know, carpels are joined or free. You have studied that gynoecium. Gynoecium consists of 3 parts. Basal round part called as ovary, and this is called as trine, and this is called as stigma. And this ovary, gynoecium, is made up of carpels. It is made up of one piece is called one carpel. And see, one carpel. See, if the carpels may be in many plants, the carpels are free, not joined. 2 carpels. They are free from one another. And in many plants, the carpels are joined. See, the carpels are joined. If the carpels are free, it is called as apocarpous condition. APO. Apocarpous condition. And if the carpels are joined, it is called syncarpous condition. Syncarpous. In hibiscus, you can see 5 stigmas can be seen. See, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stigmas can be seen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see 5 stigmas can, 1 ovary, 1 style, 5 stigma. What is the meaning of that? Here there are 5 carpels are there. 5 pieces are there. 5 carpel. One piece is called 1 carpel. 2 carpel. 3 carpel. 4 carpel. 5 carpels are joined. See, here you can see 2 carpels are there. Carpels are not joined. If the carpels are not joined, it is called apocarpus condition. Here 5 carpels are there. How I can say there are 5 carpels? 5 stigma, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stigma. 1 ovary, 1 style, 5 stigma. Means 5 carpels are joined together. If the carpels are joined together, it is called a syncarpus condition. If the carpels are free like that, free means not joined, it is called a apocarpus condition. Syncarpus and apocarpus condition. This is about the parts of the flower in detail. Then comes the fruit. Next topic is fruit. Morphology of the fruit. Flower is flower, then comes fruit. You know, fruits are very familiar for you, and fruits are developing after fertilization only normally. See, after fertilization, ovary develops into fruit. See, ovary, this is ovary. And there is a placenta and there is the ovule. This is the ovule. And see, petals and sepals are there. Calyx is there, everything is there. And after fertilization, after the opening of the flower, the sepals may be destroyed on the same day. The calyx may be sometimes surviving. And what happens is that the stigma dry up. After 2 or 3 days, the stigma will dry up. This ovary, ripened ovary, is called as ovary develops into fruit. This ovary develops into fruit like this. And this ovule develops into seed. So ripened ovary is called as fruit. Ripened ovary is called as fruit. See, so the ovary develops into fruit and ovule develop into seed after fertilization. And there are, so such fruits are called true fruit. Fruits are called true fruit. As in mango, the fruits are called true fruit. Most of the plant fruits are called true fruit. True fruit means ovary developing from, fruits developing from ovary is called a true fruit. In 99% of the cases, ovary developing from the, fruit developing from the ovary. Very rarely, some other parts are developing into ovary. See, if the fruits are developing from any other part other than the ovary, such fruits are called false fruit. Example, apple is a false fruit. Apple is a false fruit. In the apple, which part is developing? The thalamus is developing into fruit. Thalamus develop into the cup-shaped structure is called thalamus. See, this thalamus is developing into fruit. So ovary, thalamus is joined. So thalamus is the part. The thalamus develop into fruit. So there are 2 types of fruit, true fruit and false fruit. If the fruits are developing from ovary, such fruits are called true fruit. And if the fruits are developing from any part other than the ovary, it is called a false fruit. Apple is a false fruit because it is developed from thalamus. Thalamus developing into fruit. And very rarely, fruits are developing without fertilization also. Fruits are only developing after fertilization. Very rarely, fruits are developing without fertilization also. Such fruits which are developing without fertilization are called as parthenocarpic fruits. Such fruits are called as parthenocarpic fruits. Fruits which are developing without fertilization are called parthenocarpic fruits. For example, banana is a parthenocarpic fruit. Such fruits are usually seedless. In banana, there is no seed because there is no fertilization. There is no joining of gamete. Joining of gamete is called as fertilization. In banana, gametes are not formed, so there is no fertilization. So, very rarely, fruits are developing without fertilization also. Such fruits which are developing without fertilization are called parthenocarpic fruits. Banana is an example. Such fruits are usually seedless. Okay? So there are fruits are categorized into two: true fruit, false fruit, and parthenocarpic fruit. Then morphology of the fruit. The wall of the fruit is called pericarp. The wall of the fruit is called pericarp. Wall of the fruit is called pericarp. You know, in the case of beans, you know the diagram of beans. Beans are like that, pea plant are like that, inside you can see the seed like that, seeds are there. This is the fruit of beans fruit and this is the seed. This is the ovary develops into fruit and ovule develops into seed. Marginal placentation, placenta is on the marginal placentation. The wall of the fruit is called pericarp. Wall of the fruit is called pericarp. This wall is called as pericarp. You can see a slit on that can be divided into two pieces. This wall is called, the wall of the fruit is called pericarp. And the branch of biology which deals with the study of fruit is called pomology. And see, you can see later on. So this is the wall of the fruit is called pericarp. In mango-like fleshy fruits, you see, in mango-like fruits, this pericarp is differentiated into three regions. The wall, fleshy fruit, mango is a fleshy fruit, thick fleshy fruit. Can see the pericarp, outer green part called as epicarp. The middle part called mesocarp and inner hard part is called as endocarp, and inside the endocarp you can see white seed. So this is the seed. The seed is the white seed, you can see like this. The seed is protected by a covering. That covering of the seed is called as here endocarp. So this is actually, these three layers are together called as pericarp. Three layers are together called as pericarp or fruit wall. So you see the difference between the three. Two. And see the difference in beans like fruit, dry fruit, only one layer. But in plants like mango or tomato or many plants, fleshy fruits, this is called dry fruit, this is called fleshy fruit, fleshy parts are there. And three regions are there, epicarp, you know, color, green, outer part is called epicarp. Middle, edible part that we are eating, that part is called mesocarp. Inner, hard part, covering the seed is called endocarp. Together called pericarp. Distinguished into epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp, and endocarp is always protecting the seed till, you know, the seeds of mango is very soft. It is becoming hard because it is always covered by the innermost part of the fruit called endocarp. Actually, the hard part is not seed, hard part is endocarp, innermost layer of the fruit wall. Seed is present inside. So the epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp always protect the seed. This is the morphology of seed. Sorry, morphology of fruit. Then comes the morphology of seed. Morphology of seed. This is the last topic, and taxonomy remains, that I can explain directly only, because that is somewhat to be difficult to explain by the method. So, morphology of the seed. You know, ovule develop into seed. Ovule develop into seed. And seeds are present inside the fruit. Seeds are present inside the fruit. And see, I see the structure of typical seed. This is important for second years also. A typical seed consists of following parts. A covering called seed coat. Covering of the seed is called a seed coat. It consists of two layers. You see, two layers are there. Inner layer and outer layer. Inner layer is called tegmen. Outer layer is called testa. Together called seed coat. First part of the seed called covering of the seed is called seed coat. It consists of two layers. Outer layer called testa, inner layer called tegmen. And second part, here there is a storage food. So second part of the seed is the storage food. Storage food is there. Large amount of food is stored in the seed. The storage food may be either in the endosperm, a part called endosperm, or in cotyledon. Cotyledon. Storage food is present in dicot plants. It is in cotyledon. In monocot plants like rice, wheat, etc., that is in endosperm. Anyhow, the seed contains a storage food material. Third part, there is a structure like that called as, important part called as embryo. This is the third part. So, typical seed consists of three portions. An important part called as embryo, which develop into another plant. Storage food for the embryo called as storage food, maybe endosperm or cotyledon, and there is a covering called a seed coat. And in the concave part of the seed, there is a mark, a white mark is there. That white mark is called hilum, and there is a small opening here. A small opening is called as micropyle. M-I-P-R-O-P-Y-L-E. Micropyle. So, there is a white marking as in the case of pea plant or like that. You can see a white marking here. That white mark is called hilum, and there is a small opening here. This small opening is very minute. This opening is called micropyle. So, a typical seed consists of seed coat, storage food, and an embryo. And see, next I am drawing the structure of this embryo. This embryo structure is very important. See, structure of the embryo. This embryo, dicot embryo. I will first of all give the dicot embryo, then monocot embryo. Dicot, beans or gram or tamarind or mango. The seed, embryo, the structure of the embryo. You know, this is the structure of the seed, and inside there is the embryo. I am drawing the structure of this embryo here. This embryo here. An embryo consists of an embryonal axis. An embryonal axis. Axis of this embryo I am drawing here. Embryonal axis, the tip is called plumule, and the base is called radicle. Radicle develops into root system, and plumule develops into shoot system. And you started the chapter with that. Root system, below the soil level, above the soil level, shoot system. So this is the embryonal axis of the embryo, and have a radicle which develop in the root system, and the plumule develop in the shoot system. And on the side, there are attached structures are there like this. These structures are called as Cotyledon, storing food material. Cotyledon. Two cotyledon, dicot. Di means two. Two cotyledons are called as dicots. And the part of the embryonal axis below the attachment of cotyledon is called as hypocotyl, and part of the embryonal axis above the attachment of cotyledon is called as epicotyl. Hypocotyl and epicotyl. There are two parts are there. Epicotyl, part of the embryonal axis above the attachment. Right. See, part of the embryonal axis above the attachment of cotyledon is called as hypocotyl. Part of the embryonal axis above the attachment of cotyledon is called as epicotyl. So, this is the structure of dicot embryo. Dicot embryo consists of an embryonal axis. The embryonal axis, tip of the embryonal axis is called plumule, base is called radicle. We have two cotyledons attached called as, on dicot have two cotyledons attached, and the upper part of the embryonal axis is called epicotyl and basal part of the embryonal axis is called hypocotyl. This is the structure of dicot embryo. Dicot embryo structure is very, very important for diagram. Dicot embryo. And see the monocot embryo. Next part is the structure of monocot embryo. Dicot embryo, we can take the beans or like that, cashew nut or groundnut. These are all examples of dicot. And see the example of monocot seed. Monocot and monocot seed, that may be rice or wheat is an example for monocot seed. Rice or wheat or barley or sugarcane, examples of monocot seed. And see, monocot seed, the grass, take the example of rice grain. Take the example of this one, rice, or we can take the example of wheat, etc. Seed of the rice. And see the seed pod, and major part of the seed, monocot seed, is occupied by endosperm. See, there are two types of seeds. Some of the seeds contain endosperm, that we can discuss later on. The major part of the seed is occupied by the storage food. That storage food is called endosperm. Endosperm. Storage food is called endosperm. And endosperm is covered by a protein covering called as hyaluron layer. A protein covering called hyaluron layer. See, protein covering called hyaluron layer. Endosperm is covered by a protein covering called hyaluron layer. This hyaluron layer is a protein covering. Protein covering. Endosperm contain food material. Endosperm contain food material. So 90% of the 80% of the seed is occupied by the endosperm. And at the corner there is the embryo. Very small embryo. And as you know, there is an embryonal axis. This is called embryonal axis. And tip of the embryonal axis is called as plumule. Tip of the embryonal axis is called plumule. And base of the embryonal axis is called radicle. As in the case of dicot seed, radicle and plumule. Radicle develops into root system and plumule develops into shoot system. And the plumule is covered by a capillary covering. And this capillary covering is called as coleoptile. Coleoptile. And radicle is covered by another capillary covering called coleorhiza. Coleorhiza. And that is not present in dicot seed. Dicot seed is not present. So radicle is covered by a covering called coleorhiza, and plumule is covered by a covering called coleoptile. And have only one cotyledon monocot. Have only one cotyledon. The single cotyledon is called as scutellum. 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 Single cotyledon of monocot is called a scutellum. So you have to remember, protein covering is called hyaluron layer, pleural is covered by a covering called coleoptile, single cotyledon is called as scutellum, covering of the radicle is called a coleorhiza. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 markings are very important for the examination. So this is the diagram of monocot seed or monocot embryo. Dicot and monocot embryos are different. So the protein layer, this is the endosperm. Major part is occupied by the endosperm. And such seeds are called as monocot seeds are there. Monocot, endosperm is present, storage food is present in the endosperm. But in dicot, mango, cashew nut, groundnut, etc., food is stored in the cotyledon. There is no endosperm. So there are two types of seeds in angiosperm. Some of the seeds, most of the dicot does not contain endosperm. Such seeds are called non-endospermous seed. Non-endospermous seed or exalbuminous seed. Exalbuminous seed. See? Seeds are non-endospermous. For example, groundnut. Gram is an example. Groundnut is an example. Non-endosperm. There is no endosperm. Such seeds are called non-endospermous seed or exalbuminous seed. But this seed, monocot seed, rice, wheat, bamboo, sugarcane, maize, etc., they contain endosperm. Such seeds are called endospermous seed, endospermous or albuminous seed. So there are two types of seed, non-endospermous and endospermous seed. As you know, most of the dicot seed, cashew nut, groundnut, beans, mango, etc. are dicot. They are non-endospermous. There is no endosperm. Seeds without endosperm are called non-endospermous or exalbuminous. Albumin is a protein, storage protein. And most of the monocot like rice, wheat, barley, maize, etc., the seeds contain endosperm. Such seeds with the endosperm are called endospermous or albuminous seed. So this is the difference between. So anyhow, there is a storage food. Endosperm is present, food is stored in the endosperm. If there is no endosperm, food is stored in the cotyledon. There are two types of seed, endospermous and non-endospermous. So by that, we complete the structure of monocot seed and dicot seed. And see the next comes the description of the flower, taxonomy. I can complete that. I can explain it before you directly only. So almost we completed the 2 chapters. Then I will put test paper in the next week one by one. So today we discuss about the fruit, types of fruit, true fruit, false fruit and parthenocarpic fruit. One of the fruit pericarp, in mesocarp, in fleshy fruits, epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Seed, dicot seed, monocot seed. Dicot embryo, monocot embryo. Okay, all the things are written in the notebook. You take down it very clearly and you can discuss some of the things related to the discussion in the next class in this week itself, and complete the notes and can complete the assignments by the next week. I will give another explanation in the next class related to the assignment, second assignment, the question answers of the second chapter we can discuss in the next class by this week itself. So we can put a test paper on the next week. Okay, thank you.